Today is Tuesday, February 1, 2022. I'm Pastor Michael, and this is Wilderness Wanderings. Our text is from Luke 5. While Jesus was in one of the towns, a man came along who was covered with leprosy. When he saw Jesus, he fell with his face to the ground and begged him, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said, "be clean." And immediately the leprosy left him. Verses 12 and 13. This miracle story captured my imagination and heart in my early years of ministry. Because we are working our way slowly through the Gospel of Luke, I realize that it's a pivot in the story about Jesus. A new question about Jesus is being introduced here. Let me explain. A new question about Jesus is being introduced. Let me explain. Here was a man who lived on the garbage dump. Sewage and manure from the city streets, butcher scraps, blood from the offerings in the temple, and rotting stuff. That was a garbage dump. By this point, the man was covered with leprosy, which usually began small, a little patch of white skin, a running sore, something we'd cover with a Band-Aid. There was no cure, and since it was highly contagious, afflicted people were banished from society. They lived in a community near the garbage dump, living off scraps of food people flung at them from far off. This man had probably lived there for several years, since his condition was well advanced. Likely he had lost several fingers and toes to the disease. It had disfigured his face so that even his parents would not recognize him. In Israel's early days, leprosy was simply a disease, but over the years, it became more and more connected with sinfulness. You got leprosy because you, or maybe your parents, had committed some terrible sin. Leprous people were not just banished from society, they were also forbidden from entering the temple. Thus they were abandoned by family and friends and evicted from God's presence. But here he is looking for Jesus, and finding him he falls with his face to the ground, saying, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Do you notice the subtle shift Luke introduces? Thus far, the central question has been about who Jesus is, his identity. Is he the Son of God? That is now established. Now there is a new question. What is his character? What is in his heart? How far is Jesus willing to go? How deep does the compassion and redemption of God reach? "If you are willing," the man says, "if you are willing, you can make me clean." It is not a question of capability, but of desire. And Jesus responds with two things that grabbed my heart all those years ago. He deliberately reached out his hand to touch the man. It had been years since this person had been touched by anyone except his fellow afflicted. Now he is touched by the Son of God. Imagine that. And then to hear the words, "I am willing, be clean." As the man felt the sensation of a healthy hand on his body, he experienced the warm sensation of the power of God spread through him as the leprosy fled before the touch of the Son of God. In one precious, compassionate moment, Jesus breaks through all the social and spiritual barriers that had barred this man from human and divine contact. With that touch, this man was restored to his family and friends and neighborhood and welcomed back into the temple. "I am willing," said Jesus, "be clean." To all of us who may feel like this leper, banished from society and from God, with a deep sense of being dirty inside and out, Jesus says, "I am willing, be clean." To all of us who are burdened by sin, weighed down by the belief that God doesn't want us, Jesus reaches out and says, "I am willing, be clean." Jesus is willing and able to heal anything that stands between you and God and others. In his compassion, Jesus touches us where we hurt. He touches us in those places where we feel the effects of sin, whether those are deep hurts because of what others have done or scars because of sins we ourselves have committed. Jesus reaches out his hand to heal our hurts and say, "I am willing, be clean." As you journey on, go with the blessing of God. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever he may send you. May he guide you through the wilderness protect you through the storm. May He bring you home rejoicing at the wonders He has shown you. May He bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.